have not played the game, and that's clear when you hear them talk about it. This tackle should be banned. What part of it can be banned? A person having weight, you want them to not have gravity? You want them to not wrap people up around their hips? You're like, form them up. Well, you don't get to form everybody up when guys are running 4.3, some of the most dynamic athletes in the world. You're not always going to get them square and get them where you want them. Sometimes you're going to dive and have to try to wrap their hips up. And when you dive and try to wrap their hips up, you got to try to bring them down. And the only way you can bring them down is to drop your weight and to stop.
Now, I'm not going to go as far as Richard and say because you hadn't played tackle football, you don't know anything about it. I ain't going to do that. All right? But what I will say
I'm not
is...
saying he doesn't know anything, but I'm saying if they're saying ban the tackle, that's because you don't have the experience of dealing with it. So you're saying you should be able to avoid doing this. It's not possible.
It's impossible to do. I've said it on the air to you, Skip. I said off the air to you. You cannot. You can't. I understand the horse collar. Yes, you're yanking and you're pulling down. You're simply wrapping somebody down, and now you're pulling them to the ground. If they're getting caught underneath you, then that's just what it is. There's nothing you can do.
No.
What do you mean?
That's not what they're saying. You can wrap and pull.
That's exactly what they're saying.
That is exactly what they're saying.
The
explain to me. Explain to me then what they're saying.
In the league office, they're keeping track of this. They say that the hip drop, the slingshot effect, is increasing the injury risk 25 times. So now we've seen Tony Pollard career-threatening. We've seen Mark Andrews career-threatening, although they say he might try to come back. I'll believe it when I see it. We saw Geno Smith throw a fit in Seattle not too long. It was back in week 4, and he went crazy about the Giants because they hip dropped him, and he said by the grace of God, he survived the hip drop. And now we see Jordan Travis. The problem is...
What's crazy is... The Geno Smith
let me
one
finish, Richard. I'm speaking. Thank you.
I'll let you speak, but you're not speaking from experience. So stop raising your voice, Skip.
Okay.
Talk to me, Skip.
All right. Are you going to let me speak or not?
Well, you're speaking on something you don't have no experience doing. So I mean, what point can you really make?
I've covered the game for a lot longer than you've been alive.
You've covered the game. I've actually played the game longer than you ever played. So like what we're talking about is something that actually happens in the game that you can't experience unless you play it.
Does Rich McKay know anything about football? Keyshawn, help me out.
There is no solution to this because you've never done it. And so Rich McKay can say whatever he wants, but he can't offer a solution. You can't show me a way that you want these tackles to be corrected because you've never tackled. And so when you're talking to me, I want you to talk from a place of, I'm talking from a place of a guy who's tackled people, who's been in an open field with a runner who can go anywhere. There's a lot of open space. They're dynamic, 4-3, 4-4, sometimes 4-2.
Okay, so that was the awkward exchange between Skip Bayless and Richard Sherman earlier today when they were discussing the hip drop tackle that injured FSU quarterback Jordan Travis this past weekend. And this clip had social media going wild because of how similar in a way it looked when Shannon and Skip had their heated moments. Obviously it wasn't as extreme, but it still wasn't a good look. On one hand, Richard Sherman didn't think Skip could speak on the matter better than him because he never played the game. So Skip quietly told Richard Sherman something he already told him years ago in that infamous viral clip from years back. I've covered the game longer than you've been alive. I remember the days when Skip would lose it on the air yelling at Shannon, "My turn!" But it appears Skip has really tried to contain himself after what transpired between him and Shannon and all the negative publicity he received since their fallout. A lot of people, rightfully so, thought Skip crossed the line with Shannon when he questioned his career and basically told him that he was nothing compared to Tom Brady. And since the revamping of Undisputed in August, Skip in a lot of ways has changed. No longer are there days of him yelling back at his co-host during fiery debates, but more so, he looks like a quiet shell of a man he once was. He just seems to be walking on eggshells as of late. A lot of that has to do with the dynamics of the new show, as it appears they've moved away from the one-on-one heated debates and more towards a group discussion with Skip acting like a moderator. Anyways, personally I will say in Skip's defense though, I don't really think he was yelling, because if he was yelling, you would know it. Yeah, he kind
Help protect their dreams with USAA Life Insurance starting at just $12 a month.
We're a community of over 22,000 doctors. We practiced at all
Skip, stop.
See, the problem that I have with a lot of people is that they try to make things mutually exclusive. Tom Brady doesn't care about stats. Tom Brady doesn't care about this. Bull jive.
Bull jive to you.
Bull jive.
Who cares about winning Super Bowls?
Quarterbacks are the most arrogant, people that play professional sports. You know that and I know it. A little bit.
He'll be a free agent.
Yeah, he'll be a free agent. He's free. Yeah. And don't nobody want him. How you not want something that's free? You put candy out there, free candy, somebody grab a handful of it. I mean, free clothes, free chairs, somebody go come out and get one. Free Bibles, people will take one. Yep. Make a free agent, ain't nobody want him. Okay. How you not want something that's free? Football game.
Okay, so here's what I know. Last year with Tyreek Hill.
Right now.
Hey, stop it. It is my turn.
You going back to last year.
Time out. It is my turn. I gave you all of your phony baloney that you spewed all over the table. It is my turn. It is my turn. Asked.
But you picked them. You picked the Bengals.
I told you I'm not going to pick them anymore. Don't give me that baloney.
That's what you giving me, baloney. I'm not going to pick them. I don't want to jinx them.
What did I tell you? Wait. What did I predict before the year started? I said the Hall of Fame, but for 6 straight years on this show, you have tried to send Tom Brady home.
Now, Skip.
Is it time for him to go home?
Is
it time for him to go home? I need it on the record. I need it right now. No. We got to go bigger picture.
No, we don't.
You're saying
Let's
he's awful.
Let's talk about this. See, that's what you always do. You always try to shift. Go big picture. Go to yesterday. Behind Washington Commanders, New York Giants. And it did what it needed to do. Now those 2 drives, and you were still behind. And come on, Skip, don't do that now. You're being real petty, bro. Let me talk.
I haven't said a word.
I know you're doing them. Come on, that's childish. Your team lost. That is very childish. Let me talk.
Your opinion is childish.
Go ahead.
Go. And you're telling me Brady got outplayed. Baloney!
He did get outplayed.
It's the biggest bunch of baloney you've ever spewed. Matthew Stafford. Guess what Matthew Stafford had in the second half? It's my turn. Stop it. It is my turn because Matthew Stafford. Oh, that's really funny.
Yes!
Matthew
you still lost, Skip. He lost.
You know what? How did he look yesterday? Gets an F?
No. I got the floor. Because all you do is bring up those 11 games. All you do is go back to talk about when he was a rookie and won 7 games. I'm going to talk about what I want to talk about because I got the floor. Baker Mayfield is dead last in 2022 in QBR.
Blah, blah,
He's
blah.
Dead last. I don't care. Blah, blah, blah. He's 57.8. He's 33rd in completion percentage. You going to let me talk? Hold on.
Real good.
Wait a minute.
Yep.
This guy, you talking about he did the shot of shots at LeBron's house. Why can't he win the finals without Steph, Clay, and Drake? If he's what you said he is, why can't he do that?
Well, you'll have a shot.
A shot.
Real coach, yeah.
They're still giving out COVID shots. They got the second booster available now. So that's the only shot Kevin Durant's going to get.
I've had 5, so.
That's the only shot Kevin Durant's going to get. He throws talent. He yells and screams. You criticize Aaron Rodgers for doing the exact same thing.
I do.
Criticize him.
Okay.
Criticize him.
It works.
It
works.
Aaron Rodgers.
He's won 7 Super Bowls. No, it's not. You see.
You make him my point.
You said they were dead. Now you're trying to say, well, I don't know. It's about the division.
Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10.
Baloney, it's about the division.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you trust the Cowboys?
Okay. I'm a 9 because I got them going 12-5. I like this quarterback.
Because you hadn't answered the question about Cooper Rush yet.
What are you talking about?
Because that's what you do.
If you'll stay on point on question.
You never stay on point.
Okay, I'm about to stay on point.
You're not going to get on point until I'm done talking.
Okay, all right.
That's right.
Spew all your hate.
I'm going to spew it all.
Your Baker hate. Spew it. Look sillier than any man in the history of the world has made you look.
If he making me look silly.
Stressed out? Time to refresh your rhythm with Trident. Trident Gum, the fresh chew to refresh your rhythm.
After Skip Bayless's inexcusable debacle last week, including his interruption of Shannon Sharpe once the Hall of Famer rejoined Bayless on Undisputed.
Skip tweeted something, and although I disagree with the tweet, and hopefully Skip would take it down, but I didn't want it.
Well, time out. I'm not going to take it down because I stand by what I tweeted.
Skip, let me finish.
All right, okay.
Go ahead.
No, you go.
Go ahead, let's go, Jen.
Okay.
I mean, I cannot even get through a monologue without you interrupting me.
Well,
you could have came back, Skip.
well, I thought-
Skip, just let.
I didn't know you were gonna bring up
No,
this.
I was just going to say, Skip. I didn't want to yesterday to get into a situation where DeMar Hamlin was the issue. We should have been talking about him and not get into your tweet. That's what I was going to do. But you can't even let me finish my opening monologue without you interrupting.
Okay. I was under the impression you weren't going to bring this up because nobody here had a problem with that tweet.
No. Clearly, the bosses wanted you to offer explanations, so clearly somebody
No, they
had a
did
problem.
not have. Nobody.
Let's go.
Another Hall of Famer gave his 2 cents.
You see something happen to a young man like that. It's just, you don't have to be a football player to understand how big this was. And you spoke about humanity. And I think, but there were things done here by someone here at this network that were inhumane. And we sit here and we talk about how good, and I'm sorry to take it this way, but this route, but I just felt like sensible people and sensible human beings have a heart. And they understand that your words and what you say really have an impact.
That being Michael Strahan, clearly calling out Skip Bayless for how he handled the news of Buffalo Bills safety DeMar Hamlin.
Not only on that young man's family. And so all the attention should be on this young man, his recovery. For sensible people like us here to say that it didn't affect anybody at this network, nobody at this network minded, that's a lie. Obviously didn't talk to us because it matters to us and it matters to any sensible human being that this young man's life was bigger than any football game. This young man will hopefully be back and forget about football, but just have a life.
It struck a nerve with Strahan, and how couldn't it? Lest we forget, after Dak Prescott lost his mother, and then when he learned of his brother Jace unaliving himself.
How did you find out what happened?
It's crazy. All throughout this quarantine and this off season, I started experiencing emotions I've never felt before. Anxiety for the main one. And then, honestly, a couple of days before my brother passed, I would say I started experiencing depression. Didn't know necessarily what I was going through, to say the least.
Bayless said this.
I have deep compassion for clinical depression, but when it comes to the quarterback of an NFL team, you know this as well as better than I do. It's the ultimate leadership position in sports. You are commanding an entire franchise.
Okay, Skip Bayless, you're a jack.
I want some Takis.
You've come for Takis Buckin' Ranch.
Where do you get off stating that one of my teammates is a homosexual? Where are your facts?
And Skip Bayless. Now, my memory is kind of hazy to even remember this show, but after a little bit of research, it appears this was a show with Pam and Dion called Call It Like It Is, and this particular episode, they would have Skip Bayless on their show. Now, for those of you who don't know, Skip is one of the most recognizable faces in the sports debate industry and has a long career in sports journalism that dates all the way back to the 70s. During that time, one of the teams he covered were his beloved Dallas Cowboys during the 1990s Dynasty era where they won 3 Super Bowl titles. Skip released 3 books. Anyways, this was the interview between...
Your facts. Do you know how detrimental that is to a guy
I
such
don't
as Troy?
state that at all. This book is about a very troubled, paranoia-plagued relationship, or lack thereof, between your quarterback, Troy Aikman, and Barry Switzer that disintegrated over a 2-year period to where they didn't even speak the last couple of months of last season. And one side, the Switzer side, as I call them, the Switzer camp, you know John Blake, a buddy of yours obviously very well, Danny Bradley, Dean Blevins, who supported Switzer within the organization, believed that Troy wanted them gone. And I believe that Troy wanted them gone. He's not a Switzer fan. I talked at length to Troy.
About all that.
Now,
I'm
wait a
talking
second.
about the homosexual part.
When it got so dark, as you recall, in early December, the final grenade lobbed from camp to camp was that, you know, the old rumor, it's 5 years old here in Dallas-Fort Worth. I'm sure a lot of people had heard it before, that Troy is gay. Now, I've talked to Troy about it.
I have never heard that. This is a man. I'm not gay, but Troy is a good-looking guy.
He is a good-looking guy. I agree.
And I'm
now,
sure
I talked to Troy.
I'm sure he could get any woman he wants.
He says he is absolutely not gay.
Do you know what
yes,
an
I know
accusation
exactly
like
what it
that
is.
will do to a guy like Troy Aikman, whose endorsement
Now, time
potential
out.
is unbelievable?
Troy says that he's gotten a lot of mail about this over the last 4 or 5
I'm
years.
sure.
And he took the opportunity in this book to just completely shoot a hole in it. We're talking about 5 pages out of 300, and when you get to it, you'll just shake your head, and it'll be a pretty ho-hum part of this feud that's going on between them. You will put no credibility in it, no credence.
Skip.
And Troy took the opportunity to put it to bed.
Journalism 101. Journalism 101.
Right.
You do not print rumors. A rumor is just that. It's a rumor.
Okay, we're getting completely off the subject of the book.
You know,
I mean, this is such a tiny part.
What about this, Skip? How Troy, Barry, Jerry, and Dion, and Emmett, and Michael won it all in spite of themselves?
Well, it's
what kind of statement is that?
You tell me what you think of this quote from Troy Aikman. He told me on February 15th, 2 weeks after. To me, both of you were more me, more self-promoter, more solo acts than you were team guys. And ultimately, it dragged down the teams that you played for.
All-time ranks, let's get into this. 2nd in receiving yards, 3rd in receiving TDs, and 6th in receptions. Pretty impressive. Looks like Hall of Fame numbers to me. Why do you think you didn't get into the Hall of Fame?
Well, I think number one, I mean, the guy to my right, I think he has a big part in really a lot of negative criticism of me, and I really have. Attacked my character in a sense. I think for me, the Hall of Fame numbers, I think they speak for themselves.
You're not a first ballot Hall of Famer because, in my humble estimation, after doing all of my homework and covering the first team that you played for, that you played a very large part in internally tearing apart 3 very good teams by attacking publicly and feuding with the head coaches of all 3 teams, the coordinators or position coaches of all 3 teams, and the quarterbacks of 2 of those teams.
E-Day, they wanted to keep the man out of the Hall of Fame so bad they changed the rules because the bylaw says we're not to take any character issues or any off-the-field issues, which this man had no off-the-field issues. They said, you know what we're going to do now? If it happened on the sideline, if it happened in the locker room, that also will weigh in how we judge the player to get into the Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame is based on accolades and stats and numbers that you contribute in between the white lines. Character, personal issues that people might